Hey there, everybody. My name is Oscar Gonzalez Diaz, and I'm here to tell you a little bit about my piece at the show In Flux, Chicago Artists and Immigration at the Chicago Cultural Center right now. Um, First, of course, thanks to everybody that's made this happen. Trisha, Greg, Nathan, thank you. And everybody else involved, all the artists and everybody. It's been quite the fun ride to be a part of this. And also, thank you for anyone that's tuning in to find out a little bit more about the pieces and show their appreciation to the work that we're all trying to do here. Thanks. So here's my piece. It's titled Floor Piece 1 Minute On, an Eternity Off. It consists of about 7,000 PVC hand-casted figurines, commonly known as luchadores in Mexico. And these are little throwaway children's toys that we have. They're very crudely made and they're also painted in the colors of popular Mexican wrestlers. The piece looked like this originally at 6018 North in Edgewater. The pattern used here was derived from two of the communities of refugees and migrants in Chicago, Bosnian and Ethiopian. Um, when we moved it to the gallery at Chicago Cultural Center, we also had to contend with the different sizing of the space. And so rather than keeping the same shape that we had at 6018 North, it was much easier to accommodate our pattern, which in this case is something that not necessarily lives within the borders, but is created from the pieces that form it, to take this and to create a longer rectangular shape that would go in the center of the gallery. This piece then would be used as a in between the gallery spaces. So as the viewer is walking, they come across this piece and can either walk across it on top of it or walk around it or stop there for a second to look at it. If one takes a closer look, then we can see that it's composed of these figurines that I've described. The pieces themselves are loose. They're just dry set. They kind of, because of their standing, I guess the way the legs and the arms are placed, they lock into one another. So as long as they're in that configuration, they keep their form, which allows for us to experience the piece on top of it as much as on the sides of it. This is to use the idea of pattern as something that exists beyond the borders of the frame, but that's something that we're living with every day. Our more immediate pattern here being, of course, the color of our skin. And as we see one another, we can also start seeing that the things that we put on top of each other can fall away, starting to reveal at some of that inner, more raw space. Of course, this is just conceptualization of the ideas that I'm thinking of coming out of what identity is for me and what the objects of the everyday represent to me in the sense of now being a displaced Mexican somewhere else in the world, but home. And thinking of that process of home is also the exhibition itself, and how is that the piece will then interact and help aid the ideas of those other artworks present with it. As one comes into the gallery, and this is something that Tricia has worked on quite well, is thinking about how the pieces will move on from one idea to the next, and making us also all think about both the happier and less happy moments of what our migratory existence has been, whether it's between countries, between cities, between houses, or just between cultures. My piece then is more the in between other things. And that's important for how I'm thinking of the textile as this momentary representation that sometimes alludes to other things, sometimes is okay in alluding to those other things, and other times it might be considered even appropriatory or poorly done. And so perhaps whoever comes across the work can think about how that patterning plays into the other things that they're seeing in their everyday, be it other types of furniture, other types of flooring, other types of windows, whatever it might be. But in the gallery, those things become abstracted into perhaps the wallpaper or the fabrics that we see, the pieces that we smell, and all the objects that we can think about grabbing, but because of the space, we can't. And so to me, the space is important for us to be able to be for us to be able to move around. And so I think about my identity and the labor that it takes to perform it, but I also think about the identity of others and their own efforts in forming this. I'm really grateful for the work as it's exhibited and seen, and I'm also excited to find out other ways in which people can experience it. Um, and it's also important to me that in this conversation of community, one can think about our place in this community. And now, since my piece is supposed to be walked on, it requires its own care. So, again, thanks to everybody for participating. And really, this takes everybody's work. Thanks. I'm happy and elated and excited to be here.